Welcome to or welcome back to my channel, Ghosts and Ghouls. It is officially the spookiest month in the year, my favorite time of year, and I wanted to talk to you guys about my October reading plans, my spooky, exciting books that I have lined up for this month. So, just a little prerequisite in case you are unfamiliar with me and my reading style. I'm just a slow reader, so I'm not somebody that's gonna get through a huge catalog of books very quickly. However, I am going to try something a little different this month, especially since the previous books that I've been reading, Emma by Jane Austen and The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, took me a hot minute to get through. So I'm going to try reading multiple hard copy books, multiple audiobooks, and just seeing how that sort of style works with me, because I just tend to be somebody that reads one book at a time and listens to one book at a time. I don't really jump back and forth between books too much. So that's like a fun little October experiment. And on top of that, or included with that, is my spooky, scary Edger Allan Poe kind of experiment. So earlier this year, as in back in March, I think, I picked this book up from a thrift store. And it is Major Tales and Poems by Edger Allan Poe. It includes 24 short stories and then I think like 12 poems. So what I would like to do, what I'm planning on doing, and I already started, I finished my one for the day, is to read one story and or one poem every day. And obviously it's easier to get through the poems than it is the stories. So with that challenge, I should easily be able to get through all of his work by the end of this month. So I am going to be vlogging this, and I am going to be rating and giving just my quick thoughts and opinions on each story. Today I read The Telltale Heart, which is probably one that I've read for school like 5 times. But the vast majority of them listed I have not. And I don't think I've read any of his poetry either, so there's plenty of new material for me to dive into. And even rereading The Telltale Heart today, granted that's a like super famous story of his and notoriously short and vivid, but it genuinely creeped me out a little bit. So it's like, okay, this will hopefully deliver on the like spooky, creepy vibes that I'm aiming for this month. So the next 2 books are not explicitly spooky or creepy, like that's not Stephen King, but I think it's going to fit the like fun monster vibe that I'm going for. One of those is also a self-published book, Soul Weaver by CJ Sorvik. I had a video out last month where I talked about CJ sending me this book and a little bit about what Soul Weaver is about. Nefarious fairies, violent storms, and out-of-control elves. It sounds like it's one of those that has a lot of creatures and monsters, and that is such a great vibe for October. And that's just something like the fairy tale creature aspect of like mythology or lore or stories is always one of my favorite, and so I'm super excited to get into this. And this next one is one that I have been told by you guys to read. I have close friends that have told me to read this book. It's like hard to pinpoint exactly why I feel like this is such a good October book, but let me know, especially if you've read this book or this entire series, if I'm on the right track with thinking that. But that is The Lies of Lamora by Scott Lynch. I don't know how much of it is in this first book, but the second and third book have like very heavy pirate vibes. It's kind of steampunky, but fantasy, but whimsical. And I know this first book, you kind of follow the main character as a child, so there's just that like just really fun underworld. Like, I don't know, I guess whenever I thought of this book, I always got like the Labyrinth vibes almost. A really good friend of mine who's read the series and thought that book 4, the Gentleman's Bastard series, was coming out soon. It turns out that's not the case, but he's re-listening to the 3rd book over audio, and he played a little bit of the narrator for me, and it just sounds so fun. But as you can see, that is 3 books that I'm going to be jumping around, and even in this book I'm going to be jumping around between stories and poems, so that's just not something I generally do. For me, it's a little bit of an experiment. So I have 2 credits on my Audible account, so when it comes to audiobooks, what I'm definitely going to listen to, and I'm so happy I found it, because I don't know, sometimes with these October reads, it's like I want horror but not necessarily excessive gore, and I like things that are dark but not depressing. It's like I'm looking for like a Addams Family vibe that's maybe a little bit edgier but not like disgusting and depressing. That's not the kind of spooktacular October reads I'm gunning for. So I was so happy that I came across Neil Gaiman's The Graveyard Book, and on Audible they have an ensemble cast version, so I have never listened to an audiobook like that before. So at least according to Audible, it has like 6 or 7 cast members. So I don't quite know what to expect for that, but the reviews said that the performances were amazing. It's only 7 hours long, so that just feels like nothing after The Way of Kings, you know? It'll be a nice little break. It's a little boy who lives in the graveyard and whose family are like ghosts and demons or something along those lines, and I think he gets to go to like a whimsical world, and the murderer that killed his family is after him. Just everything about that, especially the little boy living in a graveyard, because I was the kid in school that for some reason I thought graveyards were so cool. I remember being a little kid and getting a picture book from the library, and it was about like ghosts partying in the graveyard, so I just always had this weird attachment to like, no, graveyards are fun, they party over there. Now, as for my second Audible credit, I'll be honest, I haven't 1000% decided what I'm gonna do. Of course, I will let you guys know when I make that decision. A part of me just wants to continue with the Stormlight Archives and get book 2, because it's like I'm invested. They're big ass books, so they're good for audio listening. Also, the movie Dune is coming out in December, so I'm very interested in listening to that classic. I also want to read The Cartel, which is the sequel to The Power of the Dog, which I really enjoyed. And then I also already have downloaded A Little Hatred by Joe Abercrombie, which I'm so interested in. I've been craving to read something by Abercrombie. I have another book by him back there that I need to get to. It's a good problem to have, too many things to read, too many things to choose from, but that's where I'm at with my second credit. I will let you guys know in one of my reading vlogs that I will be putting out a ton of this month, exactly what I decided to do. But anyway, that is my Edgar Allan Poe challenge and what I'll be reading this month and how I plan on going about it. What are some of your spooky reads? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Anytime you like a video, comment a video, and then especially subscribe to the channel, it helps me so much. The sooner that I hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch time minutes, the sooner I can get monetized, which is a goal and a dream of mine. So thank you so much for any of that support. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.